Guns. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Yet another CDC Watchalong 434. Not talking about that South Africa Australia game. Talking about the number of runs the Delhi Capitals have mustered in two WPL games. Wow. First 223 and then 211. I don't have Vaishali with me. I have, of course, someone better. Sorry, Vaishali.
No.
Physically, I'm saying Vaishali was sick. Just tell me, saying. But it's also a good time to, of course, welcome Akash Sivasubramanian back to, of course, the CDC platform. Got a much needed break. How was that, Akash?
Yeah, it was very nice. It was picturesque.
It was picturesque. Yeah. He's gone up, of course, trekking in the hills in North India. More on that later in the watch along, of course. But we have two other men to, of course, introduce you right now.
Let's just switch the channel before that.
Yeah, we're watching the hero ISL. Bangalore winning, beating Mumbai. But we have, of course, not one but two sensational experts. I say sensational, I'm just really building them up. Let's get them on the screen one by one. Gurkirat Singh Gill, he's not related to Shubman by any stretch, but he's been, of course, praising him so far 2023. And not to forget Crazy Nicks, who also, the last time we saw him, the seat was vacant, but he's back there with his yellow background. And he might not be a happy man today because so far his UP girls have gone for runs. In particular, Deepthi Sharma and Sophie Eccleston conceding, I think, 81 together in the 8 overs. We'll talk about that and lots more. But let me ask Akash first. What was that thinking of Gujarat dropping Grace Harris?
That's a very Australian.
Sorry, UP dropping Grace Harris.
Yeah, that's a very Australian thing to do. I think. They did expect some movement early on, and to be fair, Ismail did bowl very well.
True, but that's still a ballsy call.
It is a huge call, but I mean they know that they have the firepower because Talia Mekra last game only batted one delivery and what happened. So they are like, okay, we already have the firepower. Let's just strengthen our bowling for once and try to take the advantage of the new wicket.
But I know hindsight's a beautiful thing. Right now, they'll have to chase this goddamn total without her. Do you agree with that move, Nix, in terms of Grace Harris? When you saw the team lineup, were you like kind of scratching your head, being like, what?
I think, to be honest, I expected that lineup in the first game because I felt Ismail is too good to be left out. She said that, in the bus when they were playing, that it's first time in 16 years that she was benched for any game. Again, it's quality, but you had taken that problem yourself. I think the thinking was against a batting heavy lineup, they wanted an extra batter, so they had Grace Harris against a team that has a very strong top order. I felt the move was to probably counter them right up top, break the back of the game very early, which is why she also bowled 3 in the power play. And to be very honest, she did bowl very well. Meg Lanning had her, as I say, luck's cozy. The luck was with her. She got away a few, swings or as edges went her way, and then they never looked back from there. I think they still did well to come back from there, but I felt because they had used up Ismail's 3, that's a great shot to start.
That's a great shot to start proceedings. If you guys are just joining us in this watch along, sync your streams in, of course. We're watching in Sports 18, no prizes for guessing. 4 for none, Healy and, of course, Shweta Sirat. Lots made of the youngsters. So let's see how they go about it. And they have to, of course, rely on a quick start. Speaking of quick starts, Delhi got that. Not so much Shafali this time, but like Nick's alluded to, it was the Meg Lanning show. Gurkirat, my question to you is, I don't know if you've seen the movie called The Meg. It stars Jason Statham. It's about a shark. It's on Netflix. It's pretty good. I think Lanning ate up the UP bowlers as a shark. How much did you like her innings? And Elisa Healy is just flying right now. But how much did you like Meg Lanning's innings? Because she currently holds the orange cap too right now.
So, Nikhil's right that she did have some luck early on. But I thought one other thing that she did well in the power play was she figured that Shabnam Ismail with her pace could actually trouble Shefali. So she wanted to take a lot more of the strike. And, she did that in her second over. Even in the third over, when Ismail came on to bowl, she faced the first 4 deliveries. She only let Shefali face 1. So that was smart thinking on her part. And by that time, once she'd gotten set, then she started to take full toll of the bowlers and, really showcased her range. I think Delhi were 18 for 0 after first 3 overs, and then they were 62 for none at the end of the power play. And majority of the runs had been scored by Meg Lanning herself. So, she's just showed that what kind of a batter she is and why she rated so highly. And good to see Delhi finish strongly. But I actually put out a tweet that whether it is the men's team or the women's team, sometimes it's difficult for the franchisee to let go of their DNA. And I think just like the men's team, the DC women will also struggle someday because of the lack of batting depth, because they don't have any batting beyond number 6, and that's not ideal. And it's been the same case with the men's team. So someday they are going to rue for it.
Yeah, just looking at that top 6, like you mentioned, it is of course scary from an opposition perspective because of course you have Meg Lanning, Shafali Verma, Alice Capsey, we saw her, and not to forget Jess Jonathan and Jemima go without saying. So it is a brilliant batting lineup that, but so far so good right now in this over for both teams. I mean, Carps come back pretty well after conceding 2 boundaries earlier on. Now I just want to ask you guys particular fantasy related question here to kick proceedings off in this watch along. And I was having this little exercise with my friends as well. If you guys could choose 4 foreign picks, right? Whoever the WPL has, who would it be and why? 4 foreign picks to make your dream team in WPL. Who would they be and why? We can start with Lukirat and then Akash and then next.
So, like I mentioned yesterday, when you asked me 3 picks, I did say, Alyssa Perry and Sophie Ecclestone. So these 2 will definitely be there. I might be tempted to go ahead with someone like Meg Lanning, and then yeah, maybe Shabnam Ismail, because of her raw pace. I do think she has that yard or extra pace which can trouble the batters, because spin department is covered with Sophie Eccleston. There's an all-rounder in someone like Alyssa Perry. Top orders covered with Meg Lanning, so might as well go with Shabnam Ismail and try and cover all the bases that you can among the 4 players. Maybe could have maybe another option instead of Meg Lanning could be to go for Alyssa Healy and cover up that wicket keeping option as well. But don't think there's much to choose between those 2 in terms of squad construction.
Specialist picks over there. Do you agree, disagree?
No, I have a very different. So I would pick Beth. I mean, considering she was fit, Beth Mooney. Beth Mooney, Sophie Eccleston, Grace Harris, of course, and my 4th pick would be Alice Capsey.
Okay, interesting.
4th pick would be, sorry?
Alice Capsey.
Alice Capsey, yeah.
And next, what about you?
So definitely starting with Alice Perry, you'll have Nat Stewart, you'll have Sophie Ecclestone, and the 4th one will be Amelia Kerr. All 3 who could bat give you good 12 overs, and you have Sophie to give you the 4 classic. So 16 overs done right there, quality overs, and a dream team.
A dream team
in every
indeed.
sense.
Just one thing that I want to
second innings only. Sorry. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Just one thing that I want to say on this show, it has happened so many times that whenever I have said something or Nikhil has said something, the other has just said my answer is the same and nothing different. But it's not going to be the case in these WPL watch-alongs, because there's a clear difference in terms of knowledge depth. I'm very much a rookie. I'm like that. I'm like that Indian youngster who's getting exposed to the world, while Nikhil's one of those Australian players who you think might be a lower order batter, who bowls a little bit, but then they come in and score the kind of innings that Jonathan played today. Because I was stunned to see this. I've never seen this. So
no, I can get that for sure. Vasundharayan saying if Delhi wins this, I think they have a better chance to win the trophy because experience in the final matches. And Lanang has that. If DC qualifies, I'm pretty sure that they win. Right now, everyone's predicting an MIDC final. Let's see how it goes there. Just on that topic, I think I'd go for someone different in terms of Ashley Gardner. Definitely have her there. I would also possibly have. I'm tempted between 2. Obviously, I want to have Elisa Healy because she's just brilliant. And I'm not basing it off the 7 balls that I've seen on this evening, or the 8, because she has gone downtown and she's got another boundary. So Elisa Healy for me, Ash Gardner. I would also like to. This is where it gets really tricky. You obviously want to choose another Australian, but I'll have Hayley Matthews there because Hayley Matthews, I think, it just goes under the radar like she did in that first auction round before Mumbai came back and stole her for 40 lakhs.
For base price, I mean, that was
quite a steal. And then Eccleston. I just think Eccleston's hair more than her spin. Oh, please. I was just joking. But look, Those are the four picks. Let us know in the comments below as well. There was a run-up possibility there, but I don't know what happened.
No,
Meg for me can do it. That's why, because I have her as a
no,
favorite.
interestingly, we none of us picked Talia McGrath. Just like she's the number one ranked batter, and we're like, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
not interested.
no one's picked her because she's literally, I mean, doing great things in terms of Australian cricket right now. It's too early for her WPL career. Crime Master Gogo, good to see you again. There should be a team of Northeast. They're also good supporters of cricket. They are. That's why they have Team Ranji. It's just a joke, guys. It's just a joke. And the ISL, of course. No, but yeah, I completely agree with you. Hopefully, the women's cricket grows. I mean, Akash is a CSK fan. He's wondering why Kasi Vishwanathan didn't get a team going. Just shocking.
I mean, it's not shocking.
Or was it just the WPL was chiseled out to be 5 teams because they didn't have that much talent?
No, I mean, like either way, I think it should have been more than a 5 team. There is enough talent.
They should have just made it 8 teams, bro. Literally,
Eight,
carbon
I don't
copy
know,
of the
maybe
men's team.
six.
I think
Six could have
I
been.
think
Just think about it in an ideal case scenario: 10 men IPL teams, so replicate those for women, and then of course even the pathway to the IPL teams can be academies, like a CSK academy for girls and guys, like school programs, college programs. I don't know.
That'll be like
I think the
football.
objective. I think the objective this year was just to get the ball rolling, and
Yeah,
because
So how did they decide that? Did they decide 5 teams?
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. See, if you had say 8 teams instead of 5, you needed a bigger window, and it's obvious that BCCI did not want a clash between the WPL and the IPL, right?
Hmm.
I believe after this edition of WPL plays out, they'll then probably look at developing a proper window wherein they can probably have at least, because this WPL has only 23 matches if I'm not wrong. They'll probably look to make it at least a 40 game tournament. So I believe the number 5 came with keeping in mind that in such a short time, what could be the optimal number of teams wherein you won't have a logistical nightmare. Because if you had increased the numbers from 5 to say 8, then the logistics would have differed very very differently, and you would have had difficulty to pull it off. So I think 5 was the number that they wanted to start off with, and then build on it. Because and it's not that it has not happened before. You look at the PSL was initially a 5 team affair. uh, there's another league that I'm forgetting which also started off as a 5 team or a 6 game. I think BBL also started as a 6 team affair, if I'm not wrong. Maybe Nikhil can correct me. Or was
I,
BBL always an 8 team?
yeah, I think it was always an 8 team. I don't think it was a 6 team.
Yeah, but PSL was definitely a 5 team affair.
Yeah,
Now it's
PSL was
become
5 teams.
6. Now it's become 6. So I
No,
think
but looking at, like, if they do go 8 teams in the future, and that possibly is a viable route, will it be the obvious CSK, KKR, and say Punjab women to, of course, fill in the rest, or do you see it differently?
see, a lot is going to depend upon how profitable those franchisees are otherwise. Because Punjab, for some reason, and we've seen this and discussed this quite a lot, that even in the men's IPL, what they do is they never spend their whole purse. They do leave out a chunk of the purse, which is around 10 crores. So I don't know what is going to be the financial health of those franchisees. I think KKR will definitely come into the league at some stage, because they already have 3 or 4 teams around the world. So they do seem to be logistically more prepared than other teams. Maybe KKR is one team that we can look at. CSK, I'm not sure, but KKR is one team that I do feel will come into play.
Everybody knew why.
No, but what is the reason for that?
No, he said no. It's not Kasi said it's not profitable, and we've already have 2 franchisees, so we don't want to.
So right now
Which I
CSK
don't
have Joburg and then
Yeah,
Sevens.
that's it.
But same with Punjab, right? They have themselves and I think St. Lucia Kings.
St. Lucia. I think even I am not sure T10 or ILT20. In one of those, I think they have a franchisee. I think
Punjab,
Nikhil,
no, I think Punjab have only 2.
Yeah, they had Sharjah Warriors was possibly for Chennai. I'm not sure. Maybe Moeen Ali was the one who's leading. So again, but I don't think it's a fair excuse which is said. When it expands, I'm sure they'll be there.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
of course.
that's the
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
ideal
the
and
first
ideal
the
situation.
first edition might also clear up how profitable as a business having a team in the WPPL could be a few years down the line. That will also change interest, and probably might just motivate a few more companies and conglomerates to come forward and bid for a team. You never know.
I mean, I know we're just 6 games into the WPL, guys, but is it fair to say that it's already got a bigger stronghold in women's T20 cricket, let alone cricket, compared to the other women's leagues? I mean, I know that they're just competing with the WBBL
I think WBBL still holds
because
in
they've been,
terms of quality and in terms of the talents they produce every year.
and
right?
plus it's not like the BBL where they don't have Indian talent. Indians can play that.
Yeah, Indians
See,
can still play there. I think at some point BCCI might try to plug the switch and say that no, we can't. We just
It's
make it.
inevitable.
It's going to happen. But if you had to rank right now, I think WBBL, even I think the 100 women's is still
Correct.
ahead of.
I would actually put the 100 women's over the WBBL. I mean, I might be wrong because, like, I think
see,
after better
in
watch
terms
out.
of in terms of eyeballs and probably generating interest, WPVL might just be up there, and a big factor of that is the Indian population, because it's happening in India, because it's going to get more eyeballs from the Indian population itself. It might become popular, but in terms of quality, Akash is right that WBBL is going to be up there for a few years at least. And like you see, when the times at which WBBL is played, it's in the afternoon as per the India time. This is
Yeah.
happening at night, so obviously it's going to get a lot more interest from the Indian audiences. But yeah,
True.
it's probably in 5 years from now it could become at par with WBBL in terms of quality, if not better. But yeah, I think 5 years should be the timeline that the board and everyone else should look at, and then gauge as to what have been the
Yeah.
advantages and the benefits. I'm sure there will be some benefits in the short term itself, like
Oh, this is
developing
really
game
slow.
awareness is
And it's
something. Oh,
gone.
that's gone.
She's absolutely sussed her in here. And she does a celebration
Wow.
to send her
What
fellow
was this kind of
compatriot
a
away.
dance?
Brilliant stuff from Jess Jonathan. I mean, she went for the boundary the very first ball with a long hop down the leg side.
This is why you should read our previews, because I had put that bowling Yes Anderson against Healy would get them the wicket, and that's happened.
I mean, this was absolutely just sussing her into the drive, slow as ever, and then Healy falling for it, and she's done a little celebration to match it too. And look, the pressure built in Healy because Madison Cap, who conceded 2 boundaries in her first 2 deliveries, came back extraordinarily well in the last 10 balls that she's bowled, conceding 3.
No, this is how Healy bats. So
And this
it's
is how
not
Healy
like
bats.
she bats like this even if she's on 70, even if she's on 5. She doesn't know any other way to bat.
So 24 of 17, and Elisa Healy, of course, departing. But Kiran Navgire coming into proceedings next. We, of course, missed the fan of Kiran Navgire in terms of Eshali, who was absolutely mentioning her name like gazillion times. And rightly so, because what she did, and like Kukirat said in the last game that UP played, it was Kiran Navgire who, of course, turned the game on the head. Grace Harris, of course, got the plaudits, but Kiran Navgire, of course, how she kind of went about her business in the middle order. I mean, middle overs, beg your pardon, was pretty good. So let's see if she can repeat things because the run rate, Akash, is already incredibly high. What do you think the power play score they're targeting right now? Another 15 balls. Will they be happy with about 55 even from here?
Yeah, I think 50-55 is a fair shot. Maybe this is where they could have promoted somebody like Deepthi. I don't know. It's something that could have worked out considering how she plays spin, and I mean, it could have worked out, but
True.
we'll never know that, I guess.
What about the one at the non-strikers and Knicks? Of course, still early days for Sirawat, but can she kind of be a flash in the pan, at least in this game?
See, I'm sure she's going to get herself in. I think so far she hasn't had much of the strike. It was all
Kiran Navgire is not messing about. Mid-on, long on coming under, and he gets 2 in the over. Capsi's on topping that. 31 for 2 in the over now. And again, Jess Jonathan just showing why she's such a crafty customer. Not to forget a late contribution with the bat, but now 2 wickets, Akash. Rightly so mentioned in the preview by you.
Yeah, not just that.
She got beaten there with the dip.
Yeah.
Was nowhere near the pitch of the ball.
But
Nowhere.
was this shot needed, guys?
No, I mean, she came out swinging from the first delivery. She came out hitting, so it's not like. And also about, yes, I mean, Nikhil would have watched enough cricket that she is actually a very good death over bowler, and she's
Yeah.
multiple times bowled at 19th and 20th over. And the way I look at her bowling is that she has everything in her armor. She can flight it, and then she can bowl Yorkers at the death as well.
True.
So that's what actually made Meg Lanning pick her for the crunch games in the.
But we
T20
see
World Cup.
so many left arm spinners in the women's game, India and international. Where does Jess Johnson stand for you? Is she the biggest in terms of that Imad Wasim, Krunal Pandya sort of?
I mean, she doesn't. Yeah, no, but she has the variation.
She has
Probably
the
she'll be in the
variation.
top 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
It is definitely there.
top.
Yeah, I think she'll be in the top 3 for sure.
Nick, you agree with that? Jess Johnson?
Yes, 100% agree. And I feel this is where you also need a bit of experience and calm heads. I think even also just not digressing, but I felt also the Indian seam bowling so far, it's flatter to deceive. You see
Yeah.
Renuka Singh Thakur, you see how Shikha Pandey bowl, you see how Anjali Sarvani bowled today. It felt like there needs to be more communication in terms of how they are going to go about their over construction and how they are bowling with, because they haven't looked threatening much apart from that one odd ball, which is not something that you expect from your top, for your international players. So I think that is also where one of the things that I'm sure teams will address. Even now, you just lost a very big wicket.
Yeah.
I don't know there is a need to just go the very second ball. I know you want to show intent, but again, it's just those small things. UP did were very poor with the field as well.
Yeah.
They dropped Jonathan very early in her innings, and it is already proving to be the difference in between the two sides. So I think these are the small things that I hope the system that is in place, that the WPLs will able to take them out of the system in the sense that how do you not do it the next time? I
Yeah.
mean, last game you saw Kiran Devgire give her time. Today she did not. So was it the run rate? Was it a clear message that okay? And that's
Oh,
again.
Edson gone, another one. And it gets from bad to worse to the UP women out there, because now it's Shweta Sarawat who perishes, and not a real pretty inning. 6-ball 1, and she goes right now. Madison Karp has had a fantastic last, 12 balls after conceding her first 2 balls before. She's come back splendidly, 31 for 3. And like Nick said, 58 runs were scored by UP in their last 4 overs. So that just tells you. I mean, Delhi, beg your pardon, sorry, to get to 211. Manoj Anderson, that's a name that we regard in the cricketing circles, and Manoj Tiwari and James Anderson. Good to see Manoj Anderson. Guys, are there any Indian women pace bowlers who bowls 120 kilometers per hour in our domestic cricket? So, funnily enough, me and Akash were having this exact conversation with our boys, saying, what's the fastest women's pacers ever bowled in international cricket? And I think it is Shabnam Ismail, around 129, 130 kilometers an hour. And that's like 4 kilometers less than Bhuvneshwar Kumar. So if you guys have to make comparisons, you can. But in terms of Indian women pace bowling, Nix, Akash, Gurkirat, who's the fastest we've seen? Is it Renuka Singh? I mean, she's what, 110, 111 at best?
She's not fast. She's like.
I think on the top of my head, I'll obviously pick Pooja first. I think she's had spells where she's bowled quick, but again, the problem has been the consistency and the number of games that they played. You had Mansi Joshi also come in. You have had another few bowlers that right now I can't recollect, but
Monica
the
Patel?
problem. Again, I think she's in the same range. I felt Pooja is probably the quickest, but again, that's more. I think good thing to again look back at. But I think it's the part of the system that will, I'm sure, in the coming times tell us, because there aren't too many quick pacers in the system in any which ways. So it's going to take some time, but even with that, I think they know their skills. But now the time is come that you better and get to the next stage. That I mean, again, my expectations are higher from Renuka Singh than they are from Anjali, because again, she has a lot of time left to grow. But I think Renuka, you expect a lot more from her, who's played for India, and then these are the times when you want to lead from the front. So I think hopefully that happens in the coming games.
I think Shikha Pandey is probably, when at her peak, she was probably one of the faster bowlers.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's not bowled yet in this innings. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, you compare some of the men's spinners gone back in the day, like Shahid Afridi, and he kind of beat some of the women pacers out there. But look, there was another question raised in by Nitin in the comments below about why this particular tournament is seeing high scoring I mean, high scores so far. Correction. And why do you think that is? Is it as simple as all the pitches have been deltas,
Yeah,
or
yeah. It's been. I mean, if you
Good
ask
batting, good batting
Ashwin, he'll
pitches.
tell you exactly why, because they have been belters.
Gurkirath, can you put a finger on it? Why?
Good batting pitches along with short boundaries.
Okay, but short boundaries relatively. I mean, it's a similar size to the international dimensions for the women's game as well, right? So it's nothing new.
No, but
I think, see, it is a combination of the pitches and also who's batting up top. So
Yeah.
every team that has gotten off to a great start or a quick start, you've had overseas batters who enjoy pace on the ball. Be it Meg Lanning in the game against RCB, be it Haley Matthews, and even today, Elisa Haley enjoyed pace on the ball early. So again, these are the kind of players who've always had fun. And the thing is, once you give them that start, the 20 ball 40-50 comes, then you are just building on it. And every game you've seen a one cameo. It was Marizan Cup in that first game.
Mhm.
Then you had Jess Jonathan doing that today, and then you had Grace Harris doing it the other day. Again, it was after Grace Harris one was still an anomaly as compared to others, but it's the kind of players that are starting the innings. Because if you see, none of the Indian batters have. I mean, Smithy started well, so even that was a quick start, but
Shefali
was not
Smriti,
able to
I mean,
convert.
Shefali and Harman.
also some of these international quality bowlers, they are also getting to feast on inexperienced bowling too. So that's playing a part as well. Coming to the inexperience point, as Nikhil was talking about, when Kiran Navgire was dismissed, you look at Shweta Sehrawat's dismissal as well. uh, she probably didn't anticipate the pace at which the ball was going to come. I mean, her feet movement wasn't there. She was also late on the ball, and the end result was she. And maybe if she was playing some domestic pacer in a domestic tournament, she would have still been able to cut it over point and got a boundary. But here she was facing an international bowler. The ball also bounced a little more, I think, than what she expected. And that's all it took for her to walk back. So these are also some signs of inexperience which will get ironed out as they play more, as they play quality bowling a lot more. So uh,
Hmm.
Mm.
One
you
second,
know
Gurkirath, I just want to ask you something. Why do you have the remote in your hand? Are you secretly watching the PSL again?
I am
I know it. I knew
in
it, bro.
between the breaks.
There's a limit. Bye. Let's go watch it over the PSL. No, Azam Khan. You're a
I
big
mean,
fan of Azam Khan, I've heard.
I only watch Islamabad United games because, like I said, their batting is intent on steroids. They have Hassan Ali coming in at number 9. It's a crazy batting unit, and today they are chasing 200 plus. So in between the ad break, I keep changing.
That
Nikhil's
is
doing.
everyone.
I don't have the luxury of two TV screens like Nikhil does.
He doesn't have two. Sorry, you've insulted him. He has more than six. Verified.
Yeah, I didn't want the secrets to come out in front of the world. I was just being a good friend.
One second. I mean, just talking about the PSL, 20 have come off this over. 54 for 5. Couldn't Colin Monroe's going
It's a
mad.
crazy league. Like I remember on cricket.com once
So
saying
Shadab is a
that
designated two down.
Yeah,
he's
been
been
batting
for
well.
he's been like that for 2 or 3 seasons now since the time he became captain. I remember saying this on the day of the auctions when someone asked me about Delhi getting Rasu, and he had been a finisher for Multan. And I said, see, it's one thing to be a finisher in a T20 league, and it's another to be a finisher in extended version of Hong Kong sixes. It doesn't work. And PSL for me is extended Hong Kong sixes. There is no game that you don't get a
He's
score
better
of
bowler.
180, 190.
You do not see the earlier game. Shaheen scored a 46 or 48,
The
right?
batting is
He
5 or
scored a
something. No?
he scored a 50, batting at 6 in the power play. They lost by 15-20. They needed 77 in 4 overs. They almost got
Yeah,
close. And
yeah.
Sikandar Azar, David Wiese did not get to bat until the last 3 overs. So it's a game that you want to put a lottery on. It's as good or as bad as that. So
Okay, guys. So if you guys want to catch up more of the PSL and the roundup, what's been happening, cricket.com is a place to be. I think Shub's done PSL roundup, and it's coming towards the business end of the tournament. So lots to view, like Gurkirat's doing right now, being an absolute traitor. Just joking. Recent times, Dipti and Venuka are bowling poorly at the death overs. Agree or disagree, boys?
Yeah, I agree
See,
100%.
one issue that you can call it a issue or you can call it a question, and I've never understood this. I have no idea why Dipti has never chosen to bowl the around the wicket angle. She always goes over the wicket, whether
Who to
she's
right
bowling
hander?
to a left-hander,
No, no, anybody.
Or to anybody?
anybody. She doesn't go around the wicket, and it's something that I've never been able to understand. Never,
Who's
because
gone?
when she's bowling to a left-hander, the LBW is out of the equation because she's bowling from over the wicket angle. And I've tried, and I've asked this to so many people. I've tried to understand this, but this is something that I've never been able to figure out. Deepti Sharma never goes around the wicket to a left-hander.
Let's ask Nix himself, because
Oh, I
of
thought
course
you were
Nix.
gonna say let's ask Deepthi herself.
No, I mean let's ask Nix, because Nix is of course a huge fan of Deepthi. Ever been able to understand why literally that's not happened?
I don't think there is a specific reason, but I don't remember too many off spinners doing that in women's cricket. I think Ash Gardner definitely does that. I think she's someone who's done that enough. Deepti, now that he's said, I'd probably want to watch a few more games, see whether she's. I think she has done, but it's not as frequent. And again, the thing which I feel is which I feel they are very strong about is they don't move away from what is working from them over a long period of time.
Yeah.
So they are very hesitant to try something very directly in a very crucial fixture. So you might see them doing it in an game that is not maybe not an international game. And if they get success there, then they'll try it in the national colors, because I think as good or bad it is, I don't think the setup is as secure for them to try things out. So I think
Mhm.
that's where they are a bit conscious as well, that I can't really do that you don't have the luxury of Ashwin, that you can try 50 things in 6 balls and still have the room to not be dropped or anything. So I think that plays a part. So I think in the due course of this league itself, I'm sure we'll see that happening, especially to the left-handed batters that we see.
Yeah.
Really, I think women as a
Tara
whole
Norris has a very clean
only
action.
flighting, and
Yeah.
then eventually everybody understood that she only flights the ball, and
True.
now she's kind of struggling to pick up any kind of form.
For sure. Tara Norris, of course, bowling her first over. Remember, she got 5, and it just begs the question to at least Akash, who I want to, of course, hear from him about this whole rule, right? Where you can play the associate and then it becomes 5 foreigners. That's surely a rule for the IPL as well. Or
Yeah,
you don't
but
think so?
I don't think any franchise. I see I just feel that in IPL, I think it's more about business.
Yeah.
I mean, business definitely plays a huge hand. So if you ask
But that's
franchises
a
to pick
win-win, right? Business plus you're growing the game. Or not really?
IPL, I don't think IPL is all about growing the game. Do you actually feel after watching so many seasons of IPL that it's about growing the game? I don't feel it's purely
But even in
economical.
the men's side of things, if you have to pick great T20 associate players, are there lots of them that you can name at the top of your head? Maybe David Weezer, maybe
Yeah, Karthik Mayappan
Karthik
maybe.
Mayappan's a good shout.
But
See,
again, there are
see,
abundant Indian
there's
talent available, right? So you do. It's like it's a very tricky situation. I
True, but
mean,
like say someone like Tara Norris, I know it's like apples and oranges, but she's taken a chance well, and just shows you why Delhi were the only team to do the associate
no, that's
business.
because it's women's cricket, right? The Gulf is there,
Yeah.
but the Gulf is not as evident as it's in men's cricket.
Yeah.
So the associates, I mean, the associate nations still have a chance
Hmm.
against, you say, the likes of, say, I mean, not South Africa, but like the other teams, right?
Yeah.
But in men's cricket, the gulf is so much between the top four and the others
Yeah.
that you cannot imagine playing. I mean, played IPL, right? And he didn't fare really well in comparison to the others. So
True.
that gulf is not there in men's cricket.
Do you guys echo those thoughts? The fact that sometimes you look at a Shreyas Gopal, but they are thinking Karthik Nappan or throw him in because the associate rules there.
so
And
see, there
yeah.
is there is not just gulf in quality, but there is a gulf in opportunity as well.
Hmm.
Uh, and what happens is, in the IPL, what you and it's something that I've spoken on at length. In the IPL, you usually see a lot of people who form the coaching setup or the think tank. They are majorly coming from Australia or England. So and it you can never take out bias. It is not going to happen that you can take out the bias. So those who are coming from Australia and England, they've obviously seen the players who are from Australia and England a lot more closer than, say, a player from an associate nation or other countries. So to make sure that that bias is not there, you also need, I believe, a varied, or some diversity in your think tank. And I feel that Mumbai Indians do it quite well, because they've had Shane Bond, they've had Mahila Jayawardene, and they've also had someone like John T. Rhodes for a good amount of time. So they've had that diversity in terms of their think tank, so that they can, you know, scout good talents from across the
Yeah,
world.
Malinga
And
as
then
well. I mean,
and
bad.
and then what happens is that before the auction you have the BBL going on, which, and so there's obviously the recency bias. Now I believe that recency bias is going to shift towards SA20, because of teams already having a base, and seeing players a lot more closer than what they would have seen in other leagues. So there is also that factor. And then uh, I if we actually consider the case of Tara Norris, she's been able to make it here because she was playing domestic cricket in England. When Ryan Tenderskate made it to the IPL and played 3 seasons for KKR, it was because he was doing well in the county circuit. Same thing you can say for Josh Little, because he did decently in the 100. So or even Tim David. Tim David
Yeah,
has
but
made it
like
to the
say
IPL.
Rashid Khan, I mean Afghanistan before they got proper status, he was an associate player, right? And he
So
took the
Rashid Khan is an
lead.
exception. He's not the norm.
I know he's
Rashid
not
Khan
the
is the
norm, but like
exception.
in the search of those hidden gems, wouldn't you take a punt, or you think
I
that's
mean, Delhi did take a punt with Lamichane and
Lamichan?
it didn't work out
D-
quite well.
No,
And
he
eventually they
did
went
well in the 2018 season for Delhi, but then Delhi had Amit Mishra, and they didn't want to waste. They wanted to utilize their overseas spots on other areas rather than playing a leg spinner. So there's
Like
that
for
as well.
example, if that whole Ali Khan experiment came off for KKR, the Yorker King from USA and all of that, who knew? I mean, who knows? Literally,
I don't
Yeah.
think BCCI will change the rules. At least in
There,
IPL, they
yeah,
there
for
was
sure.
Rusty Tharon as well, way back in 2009-10. I
yeah,
think, yeah, the way I think people need to look. There's also Alfonso Thomas, who I loved as a T20 bowler. Again, brings back so many memories, makes you feel old. But I think the point is about the type of skill that you're looking for, and what are the possible options, and do you have those options in your domestic setup or not.
Hmm.
Now, if those options are there, there will always be a bias to firstly take the Indian or a player who we've seen, and if and only if the first two criteria are not met, do they look outside.
Hmm.
So let's take the current example. I think the one type of skill that we do not have in Indian cricket as of now is quick wrist spin.
Yeah,
There is only Ravi Bishnoi, Rahul Chahar. How many others have been part of franchise and got regular games? Not many.
yeah,
So, which is why you want the likes of Rashid Khan. You want Adnan Zampa is a great example of how he changed his style of bowling to suit limited overs. He started to bowl quick, flat, and has been getting the results. So it's the process that you want to see that okay, what are the skills that you don't have that you want to see. Now there is a lot of argument of why some like a Paul Sterling, he doesn't get a game. But the thing is, you are always going to have enough opening options in India who you think may do as much as Paul can. And
hmm.
it's no disrespect to anybody involved here. So it is what it is. Some of the the good or the bad of it, that you need to be exceptionally good at whatever you're doing to make it to the 11 as a pure batter. Something we discuss even for this franchise, that they'll always prefer the all-rounder first. If it's not an all-rounder but a very good batter, then you get into the side. So I
Yeah,
think even now most of the sides only have limited amount of specific batters. It's going to be either a keeper batter or somebody who can roll their arm over. So I think that is what is also it's also a point of consideration for many.
yeah. Let's see how that goes on. It's food for thought, really. Jagmeet Singh, bro, good to see you in the comments, patiently waiting for your question to be answered. And he's, of course, stated the obvious, or is it the obvious, guys? Because
it's
he
the
says
obvious.
seeing WPL makes you realize how much the difference in skill there is between Australians and Indians. Indians have been poor in fielding, leaving 3 to 4 apart. Hope this brings some change. Not just the Indians and Australians. Does it just tell you about everyone against Australia and how the Australians are just cut from a different cloth?
I mean, it's just not fielding. I think even more than fielding,
Mentality.
it's about. I mean, mentality is always going to be there with Australia,
Yeah,
but I think more about tactical awareness
yeah,
and where you are and what are the game awareness and situation. Right? You look at the likes of Ashley Gardner, Jess Jonathan, both of them. They bowl crucial overs, but they know how to vary their pace, or they know how to keep their field and bowl to the field.
Yeah.
But the Indian bowlers, I mean, thus far, or even in the T20 World Cup, they struggled at times because they didn't know how to bowl.
But is that experience or is that skill and will better than the Indian
So it is
counterpart?
more about thinking on the feet and then knowing what the situation demands. I think Nikhil said this earlier as well, that they just stick to their own plan and they never change.
Yeah.
The idea is to, I mean, the likes of Demi, right? She's always been a very good run accumulator, but slowly and steadily she has to understand how to up the game and according to the situation get more runs at a faster pace and all of that, so that the team.
True.
That's what they have to do using this tournament. That they have to get the game awareness and they have to understand like what the situation demands of them.
Mm.
So that's ideally what
And
they
that's
should be doing.
and that's the difference. I
So
think.
that's the difference between Australia and the other countries.
Gurkhiat, next, let me ask you this. And I know I'm praising the Australian women's cricket team here to the hilt because they deserve to. If there's any Indian player who enters that Australian women's cricket team, who will it be and why? Will we ever see an Indian enter into the 11 team? I mean, in terms of hypothetical scenarios?
I think Harman can.
Do you think? But they have so many better batters than Harman, right? Dare I say?
No, I think Harman definitely.
Sure, Talia McGrath 6.
Sure.
They need much more of that. The run rate is 14 or something like that. So that's why we're kind of meandering with our talks. Gurkhiat, do you think that's possible for any Indian women's cricketer right now to actually stamp their authority in the Australian women's cricket team?
Yeah, I think Harman can, because and this is something which even the fans and the Australian women's cricket team could also acknowledge because of her outstanding record versus Australia. You pick up
But
the
is it
matches.
just Harman?
I think Smriti too can.
Smriti might once, maybe Meg Lanning or one of their openers, call it a day, but
Dipti?
Deepthi, I'm not so sure because they do have spin bowling all rounders, and their bowling all rounders definitely do bat better than Deepthi. So that is there.
Richa Ghosh?
Too young. She still has to develop. Too early for her. She's just 19.
Definitely have the potential to play.
Yeah, because I'm just like, what about India's best players right now? We think of Harman, Smriti, Dipti, the names you mentioned, and I don't think any of them will displace Grace Harris, Talia McGrath, Alice Healy, Beth Munir. I mean, it's
See,
just
what you have to keep in mind is you are comparing people to one of the best sides to have ever played the game.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is not going to be easy for you can take names from any country. It will be hard to fit them in the Australian setup. It
Yeah.
is how it is that good, that bloody good they
Yeah.
are at what they do
It's
because they've
it's
done it so far. So
it's
it will
something
be
that
it is an unfair comparison is what I think.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Have you seen a better cricket team in terms of, since you guys are watching cricket all your life, we've seen
I-
various teams across various leagues, various formats. Can you name a better cricketing team?
I do believe that Meg Lanning's Australia has been far more dominant than Ricky Ponting's Australia or Steve Waugh's Australia, because
What about Rohit
Steve
Sharma's
Waugh-
Mumbai Indians?
Not even a chance.
no,
What about Dhoni CSK?
No.
Nothing in front of Australia. They're just,
See, against Australia, it is the
and they've carried forward and just brought on generations of generations, and everybody are performing.
See,
That's something that
they've gone unbeaten for 27 or 26 ODI games.
Sorry?
That doesn't happen. They've been unbeaten for 26, 27 ODI games.
Yeah.
And the
So
only
that
ones who
doesn't
lost-
happen. So
both the times they, I mean,
Australia's
and
Ricky Ponting's Australia and Steve Waugh's Australia, regardless of how strong they were, there were still few sides who could compete against them. I remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, South Africa really used to compete very hard against Australia, and then I think post 2003 2004, India also started to compete very well against Australia. And before the 2007 World Cup, Australia had actually lost a series in the men's team in New Zealand, which was the Chapel Hadley Trophy, which they lost 3-0. And everyone has started to question that will Australia win the World Cup again this time? It's another thing they did, but what I'm saying is that they still got challenged. But Meg Lanning's Australia doesn't even get challenged on most days.
Yeah.
The Gulf
Now,
is
Nikhil
the Gulf is
actually
too
kind
big.
of going
It's,
through the motions
it's
here
pretty
because
much
every shot Talia McGrath is playing, he's kind of reacting as me actually watching an RCB game. But right now, next, do you think this is almost feast of famine, right? For UP out there. The fact that it's Talia McGrath and Dipti Sharma, oh, it's nothing. It's boom or bust, I should say.
It's not Deepthi Sharma also. She has to step up. 11 of 18 is not a decent enough effort as well. You're batting at a very crucial spot. It doesn't matter how much batting is left. The rate is 14. So she has to at least.
You need to find two boundaries in an over.
But does she have the ability
Yeah.
to catch up? I mean,
Yes,
I know
she
English
has.
is,
She has.
she does,
It is
right?
it is the classic anchor problem. You can take your time to get in, but you have to stay up with the rate. So
Yeah.
if you're too far behind and you don't get the two boundaries, you are going to leave a lot much to do. There is no Grace Harris.
But
So
bro, why is she batting so slowly? Because she knows that there's what Simran Sheikh, Devika Vaidya, and Sophia Eccleston.
this
who
is
can
how
bat.
she starts. This is how
Yeah.
she generally
She's just
starts.
struggling to play at
Okay.
this point.
Yeah. So that is
She wants
it.
to score.
It
It's
has
not
been
like she doesn't want to score.
And Nick
yeah,
mentioned this even in the early, I mean, the last UP game, right, where she got bowled, I think.
yeah,
And Mansi Patel, I think Mansi Joshi got
yeah,
out.
Mansi Joshi.
He just said she just didn't look like the typical Dipti.
Yeah, she's probably going to give another chance looking for two boundaries. So let's see whether that turns out good or bad. But I think that has been the criticism of Deepthi as a T20 batter, that she takes too long to start, and which is why she's pushed down the order.
I
So
think it's
there has
not just
yeah,
Deepthi. I mean, if you look at it, it's with the Indian team as well, because Harman said that in the middle overs we are playing too many dots. So it's not just
yeah.
her. I mean, everybody just play dots and then they look to score one boundary in an over,
Yeah.
which is not the right way.
I think
Definitely
it's
not.
the conventional Indian way to play. Take your time, get your eye in, is the way to play ODIs in T20s. So
Yeah.
that change comes with Richa, but it comes with how Kiran played as well. So you have to take a bit of both.
Yeah, they need 141 of 10, so they need to go.
Oh!
Oh, my catch! He's going to catch the tournament by Radha Yadav. Absolute beauty. I mean, as
Twice.
long as she swallowed it as if she hasn't had dinner, and Nick, you were spot on.
Twice in 2 games, I've called the Dipti Sharma wicket before it
I
falls.
think we should clip that. We should clip that for social media and all
What a catch.
the Deepti Sharma fans and Nick's fans of what a catch this is.
But to be fair to Dipti,
But surely this is the top.
I know this has been a problem with Dipti, but if we are being fair to her in the last 2 games, 3 wickets in the power play also don't help.
Yeah, but then that's your role. I can excuse that for anybody else. I'm probably her biggest fan, but I feel the seniors have to step up. There is, and that has been it's not a new problem. Had that
Yeah,
been
it's not a new problem. That
Yeah.
I agree. It's
Yes.
been a pattern with her, yes.
Yeah.
But I do feel not yet in the last game she was trying to hit out, but she was unable to. Today, I think there was not even that intent. In the last game, there was
is
the
there a
intent.
case to propel her into the power play with like
Sorry?
swap positions with Navgire?
uh, I'm not so sure how it will help, especially when you are chasing. Probably in the last game they could have done that, but when you are chasing 211 today, you really don't want to promote a player in the power play who's known to take her time. You might as well,
Yeah.
send Kiran
only-
Navgire
yeah.
to
the
break
only
the chase.
upside to feel is I actually felt they might push her at 3 in every game, because maybe she'll be able to use the power play better and play conventional shots, get the gaps without taking much risk. She could give you 2 boundaries every over. Again, that's very, very wishful thinking, but I feel we could possibly see. But again, you have Talia Megra and others, so it's good to see Kiran get that opportunity to bat up top. But I actually felt before the tournament began that maybe that's where Dipti will bat, because I think here it's not helping anyone, even her.
Also, in the last game, Kiran Navgire was doing the kind of role which was expected of Deepti to be done, because she was the one who was finding the boundary. She was the one who was ensuring that they don't get left behind in the chase. The only difference was, I think, in the last game Deepti had the intent. Today, even the intent was missing.
But the thing is, she's never been a quick one off the block sort of person, right? She's always kind of taken her
No,
time.
but she did convert. I mean, yeah, she had a phase where she was scoring 40 of 20, 40 of 18, I mean, 19, and all of
And I
that.
think
But
that is what is so whenever she's come in, I think she likes to start better versus pace. Now that is something that I'll have to look into, whether she has significantly better start versus pacers as compared to spinners. So that is something that could be crucial, because whenever she's like he said, Akash said, in some of the games, she came in, no time to fail, and she found the gap very like it was like a piece of cake. And you
Yeah.
felt that okay, why is she batting so low? But there hasn't been enough of it when got time. So again, one of the classic problems of finding your tempo in the game. So something like I can compare her with Rishabh Pant, not fair, but
Yeah.
in terms of finding the right tempo for them in the T20 setup.
Yeah, SS98 is not liking it, of course, in terms of being angry as hell. But look, I mean, it makes you think about the entry point, all kind of things like that. Is Deepti Sharma
So
the batter? Because
so
both the
could
times,
you be open with Deepti then? Because Alisa Healy is going to take
instead of
uh
Sarawat,
yeah,
I mean, that's a good shout. Because if she likes playing pace, she
or
has
at
the
number three. And number three also would do well because even if she tries to just clear the field, it will go for a boundary, and
true.
that's
But
all.
then maybe also is it kind of working against her the fact that she's walking in so early compared to her 20 ball 40
No,
cameos
no,
where
no,
she's
no,
walking in
no, no.
14
Those are
15.
very rare.
Okay.
It's not like she's done it throughout her life, so can't call it like she'll do it
Once
every
in a
day.
blue moon
Yeah.
type. We'll take another question from who was it, Shonak, the one that we saw earlier. I think it was Bharat Kotwani, who touched upon the whole WPL players now playing for foreign leagues and whether the BCCI will
Mm-hmm.
pull the plug. Akash just mentioned it. Do you think that could be used as an alibi to get the men's going places? The fact that look, the women's are doing it, why can't the men's do it? Or do you think the BCCI realize that now that they have that brainchild in the WPL, they'll pull it
Not
together?
happening with the men's. They don't even allow the ones who have
So
retired.
how can they do it for the women's and not the men's? Is that because just
No,
the playing pool in
no,
the
no,
world
no.
cricket
It's
size?
because the men's league, when it started, it had an up over the other leagues,
True.
and they could identify that this is gold.
Yeah.
But in women's cricket, they're already late and they're already behind the eight ball, so they'll have to now catch pace. Once they do catch pace, then they will start thinking about it. But in men's
Plus
cricket, they're not there.
Is it
there
also
is
because
no
you
there
can
is
go
no
and
window.
see
There is
WBPL,
no
WPL?
there is no
Technically,
breathing space. There is no breathing space for your marquee men's player to any men's cricketers to play anywhere. I think what they should be doing is allowing those who have retired and not playing the Ranji Trophy to play in the other leagues. Someone like a Robin Uthappa or a Suresh Raina also retired from the IPL because they wanted to try their hand in other leagues. I think that shouldn't have happened because not only are you restricting the player to the opportunity to ply their trade somewhere else, you're also indirectly or directly affecting their livelihood. And I don't think you should be doing that, especially if
no,
that
but I'm
player,
saying if you let players to play county, why can't you let them play other, I mean, T20 leagues, right?
because county doesn't give, see, if you allow your marquee players to go and play the BBL, BBL will start getting the eyeballs and generating more money. You also
I
don't
get
want
that. So do you think
other
that's
board.
the sole reason? The fact that if
Sorry,
they're just money hungry, they're
it's
power and
it's
they're
one
greedy.
it's one of the reasons you don't want other boards to get as stronger, as financially strong as you are. And then county, how many players do go and play county? And those who go and play county are the ones who know that they won't be able to improve their game in the Ranji Trophy. In the
Hmm.
last 2 years, there's been, I think, handful of 5 players who went to play the county in the off season. It's not even that they went to play the county in season while the Ranji was going on,
Yeah.
right? So there's that. and
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, the fact that what Kunal Pandya, Warwickshire,
and
Surinder,
and and
Pujara,
BCCI knows that, BCCI knows if players go and play county, it's not going to make the ECB financially strong.
yeah.
It's not going to make the ECB financially
In
strong. But
fact,
if
it's
the
only going
players,
to make the players
but if
more
the
strong.
sorry,
No, in fact, it's only going to make the players strong. The likes
yeah,
of Navdeep
on a on
Saini.
a on a skill level,
Yeah.
yes. Financially, not so much. But
No,
if
aren't they
you're
willing to take that risk? The fact that how Warner and I don't know, just name all the other Australian players who've literally lived in India, been part of every IPL, understood Indian conditions. I know Warner still struggles in India, which is a different question altogether.
So this
But
is
they
this
just,
has been this has been something which has been raised by English experts. They
yeah,
A lot of them were against Pujara playing the county just before India touring England, because they
yeah,
said that why are you allowing Cheteshwar Pujara to play on your pitches ahead of a series, and helping him acclimatize to the conditions. So there is
maybe
that
it's
as
not
well.
easy.
But from a county front, right?
Yeah,
From a county front, it gives you eyeballs. If you are a county that gets someone like a Cheteshwar Pujara, you're going to get more eyeballs. And
Yeah.
BCCI knows that, if their marquee players go and play the 100 or the BBL, it is going to make the other boards stronger financially, which is something that they never want to do.
Yeah, they're just greedy. They're
This
just
season,
absolutely greedy.
just thinking of it, Sussex will have both Pujara and Smith.
Oh wow.
It'll be
Oh
interesting.
wow. Which is ridiculous. So right now it's literally a one-man show by the looks of things. Talia
One woman.
McGrath, a one-woman show, I should say. 83 for 4, 11.5. If they were chasing about 170, they would be par. But right now they're way, way behind the 8 ball. During the WPL auction, says Chachan, RCB and UP Warriors, WPL. UP Warriors were the teams that are hyped too much. Why do you think a good auction doesn't lead to a trophy, Gurkirat, Knicks, and Akash as well?
See, there are multiple factors. It's too early to write off any team. Again, Mumbai probably
He's
looked very
targeting
strong.
our teams next. He's targeting our teams.
It doesn't matter who is targeting. I'm only putting forward a point of view that
Yeah.
Mumbai haven't been tested yet, and they played. I'll say Mumbai have made lesser mistakes as compared to the others. Gujarat have probably made the most of them, even starting before their first match. So it is bound to catch up. Now, when Delhi play Mumbai, again it will be a good test to see. Now, see, every team will have that one obvious weakness
Yeah.
that if the other team is not able to catch it to, they'll run away with it. So it doesn't always lead to that. Let's take the Deccan Chargers example.
Hmm.
The first team that they had, you felt, oh wow, Shahid Afridi, this guy, Adam, they'll win this easily. Let's not even go that far. The SA20, Mumbai Indians had every possible big name that they could on their roster, and they could not even make it to the knockouts.
Yeah.
It is a lot of combination. It's injuries. It's how you use them, who you make the captain, how much experience that the person has. Odion Smith was being preferred over Sam Curran, who has just won his side the T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
He may be in bad form, but you did not show enough faith in him. So it tells you, even in the best, I mean, there is no team that is probably most data driven or well logistically driven as compared to Mumbai Indians right now. If that team can get it that wrong, it just tells you that it's not always cakewalk that you get the best players. You can even take Gujarat Titans example. How many of us felt that they had a squad that could win the IPL? But what
Correct.
they did was,
That same auction, you look at the business that Punjab did. I think
yeah,
they got in Bairstow, Rajpaksa. They had like a lot of these Livingston, all these T20 players, and look where they ended up. So it's not nearly to translate that into a league
yeah,
trophy. Good.
it's
Your thoughts on that
yeah.
before I introduce another guy on the panel?
Yeah, I mean, like Nikhil summed it up, and to use the example of MI Cape Town from the SA20, there was also the factor of them not winning enough tosses. So you could have as many areas as covered on paper, but it doesn't take much for things to go wrong in this format. And that's all I want to say, because the next line everyone knows that what I'm going to
No,
say.
say it. Just say it, man. I need to
But
call that guy
it
over
needs to be printed on the wall.
technical format. We need to put a banner here. I said this yesterday to Watchalong as well. On that note, let's of course get the third man on our panel, because there's of course a little bit of vacancy right now in the CBC studio, and I'm of course hinting towards our stats man Ani, who joins us right now. Who hasn't had the best of weekends. He got Monday off, to be fair, but he's still kind of trying over the Ferrari shambles in Bahrain, not just pulling in right now. What about the stats? What about the stats so far? Delhi, of course, 223 and 211. Is that the most
Short.
a team is mustered in their two IPL games ever?
Tahalia Magra is also more of a bowling all-rounder, correct?
No, no.
No.
She's a batting all-rounder.
Batting all
She's the
rounder.
number one batter.
Yeah.
He is the number one batter. So yeah, so my question, Ani, was, and to you guys and to people in the comments as well, do you guys recollect any IPL team scoring 434 runs in their first two games ever?
Rajasthan.
You think so?
Sharjah.
Rajasthan?
CSK also.
Oh, you're saying from a season?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, from a season you have, but like at the start, no,
No
team has
one,
done that.
no one.
Obviously,
Yeah, absolutely. So his mic should just be in the middle right now. Sachin Upadhyay, good to see you. Delhi and Mumbai 1 and 2 fight would be on to third spot, or is it too soon to tell? Akash, what do you think? Do you think it's inevitable?
I think Delhi and Mumbai definitely are top two at least now, because I mean, Delhi more the fact that Lanning is a captain because she knows how to win basically. Probably Gujarat will not do anything. I don't see them moving up so much. So probably it'll be UP Warriors and
RCB for the third.
RCB. RCB.
Maybe.
Maybe.
yeah, but again RCB too
Yeah.
many individuals.
Too many individuals and they need to like go back to the drawing board. Next, what about UP, your team? I mean, I know they're of course losing this one and they had that sensational win thanks to Grace Harris last time around. But do you think they can actually compete more than like the other teams right now that we're mentioning?
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Again, the point is the decks will start to slow down. It
Yeah.
is not going to remain this highways for long. If it is, then good. It could be good fun to watch. But then you'll also see a lot more factors than like dew and everything come into picture, even in the knockout, because you have to remember the topper goes to the final. The second, third play the eliminator. So
Yeah.
all you need is get to that second, third spot, have 2 good days, and just chill. While the
No,
topper could have.
you're not butting in, Gurkita. I don't want to hear any PSL stuff now.
No, no, I'm not saying about the PSL. I'm just saying that sometimes just playing the final straight away without any lead up to the final, like you've played the league stage, you're not playing any knockout game, and straight away playing the final may not really work in your favor, especially if you're playing a team which is come on the back of a few victories. Say if you've secured your final spot two games, with still 2 games in hand, then you might start taking it lightly, and you may get caught napping come the final because you've not also played the eliminator or the game or the playoff. So I won't be surprised if the team that ends up leading the league stage, finds itself unaware or caught napping on the day of the final against the team, that they are facing, just because the other team has had a few more pressure games, and they've been under the pump a lot more than the other team. So that is one thing that I feel might just work into a disadvantage for the team that finishes on the top.
Okay, Delhi versus Mumbai. I think it is Thursday night. So, of course, join us for the watch along. Then tomorrow it is the relegation battle. Gujarat versus Bangalore will be there. But just on that, Delhi versus Mumbai, no Rani. Already you're kind of foreseeing matchups in that. I'm thinking about maybe Seka Ishaq versus someone like Meg Lanning. Do you think that could be a potential matchup just at the top of your head?
Oh, of
Herman
course.
versus
There's a lot of matches. Haley Matthews as well. Haley Matthews is bowling really well.
Very well.
And like the contribution with her with the bat is something which was unexpected. At least like you know that she scores around 30, 40, but not at a strike rate of 150. And that came as a surprise more than her bowling for me, like on the front. Because I've never seen her score that quickly.
Yeah.
So that has brought up something.
So right now, if you're in the Delhi opposition, are you planning for someone like Haley Matthews? Because right now, even if I have to ask you your personal opinion, who do you think is Delhi's best bowler, dare I say?
I would say yes, Johnson. They will attack with yes, Johnson at the start itself.
Okay, that'll
They're
be
going to
And
go
Tara
with the
Norris.
power play. And Tara
She
Norris.
struggles a little against left arm.
left
So,
out is.
like, till now, they haven't faced any variety bowling. Like, apart from Anjali Shravani and Tara Norris, there are no left arm faces at all. I mean, Monica Patel was there, but she was belted by Harmanpreet.
Yeah,
But apart from that, you haven't faced that much of variety.
yeah.
So, yeah, probably they will go with yes, Johnson. So, and maybe the pitch might differ a bit because it would be like what 3-4 matches old.
Yeah. It's slightly puzzling that one because you look at even vice versa, the matchups that Mumbai's bowlers have compared to Delhi's bowlers, right? Like I can think of even someone like Isabel Wong troubling a Meg Lanning or Shafali Verma just to
I,
dent them early on.
the thing over here with matchups is like that is what I had written in the second preview as well. Like Megan Schitt, Ellis Perry, all had like amazing record against these batters. Haley Matthews, I mean like none of the top five of Mumbai Indians batters had an average of over 20 against RCB bowlers in that match.
Jesus.
I mean like you can't say on that day what happens. So that is one of the biggest problems. Like Ellis Perry had she had dismissed Sivers for 5 times at an average of 11.3. Hey, and she got belted over there.
Yeah, sometimes I mean stats are for prats, people say, but sometimes I mean you just rip up the rule book, right? All these matchups go out of the window. It's a completely different kettle of fish, the WPL and all of that. Abhinav Gupta, good to see you in the comments. What is the role of Arundhati in Delhi Capitals? There are way too many foreign all-rounders doing everything. Next, take that, please. And also, I know we've got 1 in 3/4 games that we've seen Delhi. Is batting their strength? Because it's pretty much that top six, which is just instilling fear in the opposition.
Yeah, I think it's the top three.
Yeah.
You break them early, this it will look far different, and which is what you'll see from Mumbai. And again, the entire Delhi lineup does struggle against left arm spin, which is why I felt very surprised that Sophie did not bowl earlier than she did,
Yeah.
because again, of course, she did get out to left arm spin eventually, Meglani, but you did not try that option at all. But again, I don't think Mumbai missing it with Saika Ishak. So that is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. And with respect to Arundhati Reddy, I think it's the CSK rule book. You want to play with 5,000 all rounders so that if something is working, you can rest the rest 4,999.
But doesn't that give you an impression across all squads this time around that okay, I know like maybe Delhi have more all rounders, but even if you look at that Bangalore lineup, even the Gujarat lineup, they all have quite a few all rounders.
UP has the
Or is it
most.
just the women's game right now which has three facets?
It's just cricket right now.
Has that lineup where you have like almost 7 bowlers
Yeah.
options. You have three bowlers. I mean, three batters who can roll their arms for at least 2-3 overs.
Yeah.
So that is one of the most common feature in women's game.
Correct.
You can expect all rounders to be a part of your team. Like if you're playing in an 11, probably one, maybe 3 or 4 might not bowl. Not even four. Four is too much actually. Three might not bowl. One would be the keeper. Another one would be the
Yeah,
captain
I
or
think in
somebody.
this Delhi team only two can't bowl. Even Shafali can bowl. So
Yeah,
only
even
two you
Shafali
Correct.
can't bowl.
I mean, it just makes you think because no player in the history of IPL in the 15-16 seasons has ever won the orange cap and the purple cap. I think Hayley Matthews can win both. If she picks up three and she's scoring 70, and if she does that, say, in 4 5 games, you never know. It's a short tournament. I mean, wearing both caps like Sherlock Holmes, I'm guessing. I don't know. Only time will tell. But right now, UP up against it, guys. Do they do what Dhoni does for CSK? When he realizes the game's done, just take it as deep, avoid net run rate, even though it's a 5-man sort of
I mean,
tournament.
I think that is what Dipti was trying to do when she came
Yeah.
out to bat today. Uh, but yeah, I think the most
How much will they rule that decision of Grace Harris? It's easy to talk about it right now and all the tactical matchups and all of that.
see.
But surely there was
I
more.
don't think see the kind of innings that she played in the last game. It's like lightning striking, and to expect lightning to strike twice is probably expecting too much. So
Please
no,
disagree against
no. Grace Harris is somebody is a lightning that strikes every other time.
Every,
no, no.
He
So
has
so
a strike rate of 20 over
what
30 games.
what I'm
she's a
trying to say is that
thumbs up bottle. It's lightning.
no, but even then, to expect her to chase down 50 plus runs in 3 overs is too much to do that
Yeah,
every day.
true. But
Yeah,
she
that is what I'm coming to.
probably the most fearsome striker in women's
Yeah.
cricket, and
She's
to
probably
have a strike rate of 180 across after 30 games
30
in
games,
women's
yeah.
cricket.
No,
is-
I'm just going through the dressing room thinking of how that decision was made because here's someone who's pulled your first ever win, pulling a rabbit out of the bag. If you read Shub's review, you read Shub's review, and you just dropped her for Shabnam Ismail. What do you think the
Shabnam
conversation
Ismail
is there?
See, the thing, what happened with RCB in the first match
Yeah.
at the same venue? This is Brabant, right?
Yeah.
No, this is DY Patil. This is DY
Okay.
Patil.
So even in Brabant, when RCB won the toss, they thought that live grass is gonna give you some, pace at the start,
Persistence,
slight
yeah.
movement. The same thing they did with Shabnam Ismail. Hey, the maximum you can get is 1 over 2 overs, and she waited it out and then just went on. Just
She
for
was also Meg Lanning was also slightly lucky.
they
she
left out a match winner probably.
Oh yeah,
That is my opinion.
for sure. Abbas Kunde again,
See, but
absolutely.
but if we
Yes, right.
to play the devil's advocate here,
Yeah.
if say Meg Lanning was dismissed by Shabnam Ismail, and then she would have gotten another wicket. Delhi did not have the batting depth to then put up a score which would have troubled UP. It was probably a calculated punt, and I feel they were also slightly unlucky because there was some playing and missing early on in the first 2 overs, and then it didn't happen. But
But,
also, if once
but
you've
you guys
conceded
really think that the
211
players
runs.
they
No, I mean, the start of the watch along, both of us, Nikhil and I mean, both of us said that we agree with the decision because they were expecting this, and she bowled really well in the first 2 overs. So it's not like a move that was. I mean,
No, it just
she is world
surprises
class.
me
I
in
mean,
the
see,
sense that it's their best weapon to get someone like Lanning and Shafali out.
I mean,
They
see,
have to.
the thing over here is very simple. Like when you're playing with Lanning, who has that much of experience,
Yeah,
so if it starts to move, she knows, okay, fine, I'll have the opportunity in another 16 overs,
yeah,
which I can capitalize. So that is what. But for now, what happens? Like for that 2 overs, you are giving up on a batter who can score or who can finish you matches,
yeah,
which they're struggling now.
yeah,
Like
and
apart
that's a
from,
big gamble.
see, apart from Talia McGrath, you don't have Devika Vaidya is playing at a good rate, but not at an excellent rate.
Correct.
So that is what for. It's just the 2 overs matter. Once when you have good experienced players, you know Shafali is gonna go for it. So even if you get Shafali Verma over there, then you have Lanning who has the experience. Okay, she's able to swing the ball. I'll play it out
Yeah.
and then go attack her after in the 15 overs.
Hmm.
Even in the 15 overs, if she scores around even if Delhi is able to score 150, then they're through.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it differently, I mean, you know how
Okay,
they pick.
so what change do you guys see in the UP 11 in the next game?
In the next
If
game,
Grace Harris comes in, she comes in for who?
Ismail only. I think
Ismail
Ismail is
only.
a. I mean, openly, Alisa Aili in the toss, she said that this is a horses for courses,
Yeah.
and we see the pitch and we want to play her. There's no other reason that they picked her.
I mean,
Fair
I'm
enough.
just looking right now in terms of the teams. If I have to make a change for UP, uh, I mean, how much do we know about Lauren Bell, Lakshmi Yadav,
Lauren Bell is a good,
Lawn Bell is a
Parshavi
good.
but
Chopra,
again,
Bangalore,
UP has Laura Harris. No. Who
no,
has Laura Harris?
Delhi, I think.
Delhi.
Lauren
Delhi,
Harris.
Delhi have Laura Harris. And Delhi also have Jasia Akhtar, a name that good old Vaishali, of course, keeps saying. Nitin saying, why didn't BCCI do home away format for WPL? That was another thing discussed because I think they just wanted to finish the tournament really fast. Is that the reason
No,
why?
I
Nick?
think they didn't want to expose the pitch. Not expose, but like put the pitches out before the marquee IPL.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the.
don't
So
tell me.
no, then it would have also been difficult for teams to play back-to-back games. Like I
Agreed. I
keep
mean, the
saying
travel and
this.
the logistics.
Yeah, I keep saying this that to they just wanted to get the ball rolling with the 5 teams and just get the tournament started and up and running. Because say if they had done a home and away format, then you wouldn't have teams playing back to back,
Yeah.
on back to back days. It would have become impossible to do that. And I keep saying that there was no window as such. So to if they wanted to start the tournament on say 5th of March and end it by 26th, which is within 3 weeks, you had to do it in one city. It
Yeah.
was then even to go till Pune was, I think, stretching it too much, because then it would have been really tiring for players, especially say if you're living, if you're playing a game in Brabon, which is at one end of Mumbai, and then to travel to Pune. It might be 2 hours on the highway, but to reach to the highway sometimes from Brabon can take an hour and a half in peak hours, or probably even more. So it can get very tiring on the players if you then have it in such a short space. I do believe that moving forward, when there are more teams, they will probably have that home and away format, but not right now.
Hmm. Guys, 140 for 416.1. Of course, if you guys are tuning into this watch along, do subscribe. There's plenty more content coming your way in the cricket.com platform. Now, before I ask the boys about their potential player of the match so far, I want to just ask them a very generic one, right? And it's super
Oh,
generic. What are your expectations from the first ever WPL, guys? We'll start with Ani, then we'll go to Akash, Nix, and then go to you.
I would want some domestic players to perform really well. That is one of the things. Like, see, even in IPL, you see all these overseas players performing well, but it becomes entertaining when you have domestic players. Like when you don't know about a player and he comes out thrashing. Like nobody knew about Tilak Verma before 2021. Sorry, 2021, 22.
22.
Tilak Verma was there. Like We as experts, we know what is Tilak Verma, but as a viewer, nobody knows Tilak Verma. So something like that, I expect from IPL or WPL both.
I mean, I fully agree with you. I mean, forget Tilak Verma. No one knew who Bumrah was all those years ago. Thanks to the IPL, it's kind of like shown, right? Akash?
I just want to see Indian players upscale their game awareness and their fielding. That's all. If they do that, I think they're already at the level of Australia. They can actually compete with them over 5 matches.
Hmm.
It's just they have to be more uh, wishful of what decisions that they're taking and everything.
Yeah, and the fact that they're going to be rubbing shoulders with some of the best in the game, like the Australian team that we were just talking about, is quite ridiculous. Next, what about you?
More Saikai sharks so that you have better format players. And as Akash said, that's the bare minimum. Upskill, but more importantly, get more game aware. I think it is something that has been a problem. That looks like a wicket. Yes, it is. Sorry.
Yeah, it's another wicket.
Other
Jess
yellow.
Jonathan absolutely having a field day, 3 wickets now, and
Player
that
of the match.
contribution. She's a fantasy player, all right. Just to wrap up the expectations from the WL or WPL, Gurkirat, I mean, can you give me something different that the boys have given me? Domestic talent, of course. He's saying fielding. Nick is saying just producing. Of course, reiterating Ani's point. What about you? Anything different?
Yeah, I am on line with what Akash said, that you probably want to see increased game awareness, because uh, a lot of times that has been missing from the senior team at various events. So that is one. And from a batting point of view, I want to see Indian players develop their power hitting a little more, because I feel that is one aspect where the Indian team really has to work a lot on. Placement is fine. They have someone like Jemmy has the finesse and the technique. Even Smriti has the finesse and the placement and the timing to play those shots and clear the infields. But if you look at the Indian batting, there is probably Harman and there's Richa Ghosh who have the raw power to clear boundaries. So I want to see some work from the Indian batters on the power game front, because I feel that is something which will really help them, finish those close games and get over the line when they're sometimes found short by 5 runs, 10 runs, probably even lesser than that sometimes. So once that happens, because what you see, when India are chasing and get into the last 4 5 overs, that this the batters are going to only rely on boundaries, because clearing the boundary becomes difficult for them because they don't have that power. So if they can work on that power game front, I think they'll start winning a lot more close matches than what they have done in the recent past.
Well said, all three of you. I think just to
And
add to all you guys, I think high pressure games. I'm hoping that
Mm.
all the cricketers in the world's women's game just take to it, because, like we've seen with the IPL, it just made so many players way better to deliver under pressure. Sorry,
and
Anand.
one more thing, what I would love to watch is like role definition in at least one of them. Like this doesn't happen in IPL. Like at least the players who are there for India, they have to have the clarity of their role. Like okay, fine, I am the finisher. Yes, I will be the finisher even for WPL and even for India.
Hmm.
That role definition, yeah, you can do it over here. You can build it over here itself. But I just want that to happen in
Sure.
WPL.
Yeah, and hopefully it does. I mean, all the points absolutely on board. And like
First
Sushant
50
also
for
saying, my
Ireland.
expectation for the WPL is that Emma win the first trophy.
And
Mama
Ireland, don't worry.
deserving ovations as a captaincy. So that was that. We're just the flows coming to the last 17 balls of
Yeah.
this game, which is really dying a slow death, and it is Talia McGrath really kind of putting on a
50.
a one-woman performance, not a one-man performance, like I said earlier. Player of the match, then, is it the obvious Jess Jonathan? Is it Meg
I think
Lanning?
Nick Lanning.
Really?
Yeah.
How much?
I mean, I don't.
Any
I'll
bets?
I
I'll
would go with yes, Johnson because
I'll
I know
probably go with Jonathan. Short.
Jonathan?
Peg Lanning gave that start, but they were after the rain break. I guess they were tagging. I didn't think they would go for they'd reach the 200 mark,
Mm.
and yes, Johnson took it away. So because like they were what one.
They were 153 for 4 after
153
16.
for 16. So from there,
They've got 58 in 4 overs,
58
which
runs,
is
and
quite
her partnership with Jemmy was very vital.
Yeah.
And this 3 wickets, obviously, it has to go for Jia Samson.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Absolutely
I
brilliant.
would
3
go
for
for Lanning
25.
because of her captaincy. I mean, she shuffled a bowler exactly to kind of not allow UP to go with the flow. And when they were with the flow, she brought in Jonathan and she picked Healy. So it's like a properly timed move from basically the best captain.
I mean, Jess Johnson, I think, is just a great addition to any team. So Delhi Capitals absolutely lucky. Gurkhirat will be jumping at the bits in terms of the rest of the WPL.
This is why Australia is like that.
Yeah, Akshar Patel of
Is there an equivalent in the men's game to
Akshar
Jess
Patel.
Johnson?
Akshar Patel.
Akshar Patel.
Bapu.
but if he is one tech.
Bapu.
Yes, one time. He's not won a single title. Sure, Akshar Patel has won a title.
To again with which team?
In Ranji also, he's not won anything.
Oh,
Shit.
I think he's played enough.
Literally,
like
same
Gujarat
titles.
Like Gujarat was
When
Same
past
titles as ABP
years
players.
back.
Wow, absolutely shocking. Barisan Cup to
Shot.
finish. Oh, it's a brilliant
Oh,
shot.
what
This
a
is obviously
power.
at least some sort of entertainment from Talia McGrath, just to showcase what she can do out there in the middle, because she's given us a glimpse or two in the past, but right now, I know it's
There's another thing that has now come to my mind in terms of the expectations bit that you said. I hope that the Indian administrators are watching the performances of the Aussie cricketers in this tournament, because
so they can offer what dual citizenship. I mean, I'm just asking. It was not like anything, lad. It was not anything. No, I mean it's food for thought, that, because look, the way that it's just honestly,
no. You see, if they wanted to give dual citizenship, they would have they would have given it to Chris Gale, De Villiers, Warner, Butler, Rashid Khan. But
De
no,
Villiers
what
should-
I'm saying is that they will probably be looking at that, what does the right kind of investment, not through money but also through efforts, can result into. And you have that right in front of you with the kind of performances that the Australian players are pulling off in the WPL. I mean, they clearly look head and shoulders above any other player from any other nationality.
No, but
that
I
is a
mean,
shot. What a
one
shot
second,
that is.
but Gurkhirat, I don't think that will ever happen in India, because Indian fans are never like very content, right? If
Sorry,
you
what
look-
was his point?
No, his point was that to allow players to grow and get time and perform and all
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying something else. I'm saying that they'll now understand that what does, like, there's a reason why Australia are so much better than other teams, right?
Yeah,
And
that's
the
because of the
example,
talent, right?
it's not only because of the talent, it's also because of the investment that has been put into the sport by Cricket Australia, right?
Okay, good.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe when you'll see these Aussie players play day in and day out and dominate, in foreign conditions, then you'll probably
Wow, that's hit the wicket. It's actually taken some paint off the Tata stumps over there. But the second shot was nothing to mess about, which was quite ridiculous. Chachan saying nobody said about entertainment. WPL should be entertaining. They should have nice pitches and good display of talent.
I mean,
International, domestic.
It's already entertaining. Yeah.
That's stated the obvious, Chachan. I was of course asking these guys to dive deeper, which they did. But yeah, I mean, to just scratch the surface like you have, entertainment is definitely one of the things that we want to look further. Now, I just want to ask the boys, because we've seen 60s, 70s, I think in 80 also Shefali gave us, and Meg Lanning too. Not Meg Lanning, Shefali more particular. Who will get the first ever WPL 100? If you guys had to put money where the mouth is, who would it be?
With Mooney.
With Mooney.
She's injured, but
I
Definitely.
would know. I mean, I would on Alyssa Haley.
Okay, Alisa
I would put
Healy,
my bet on Alyssa
Beth
Haley.
Mooney,
no, she's injured, so I don't think so. I think Meg Lanning has a good shot.
Meg Lanning. Oh, what a shot. Talia McGrath, 6 more. I mean, Talia McGrath is 29 away from what, 10 balls if she can get.
Yeah, she
Really, I
can
mean, that's
definitely
a
get that.
stiff ask. Are you going Aussie as well in this category, Nikhil? First ever WPL
Oh,
100?
Harman.
I feel Mandana or Perry.
Mandana. Oh, I love how you mentioned RCB blokes. Insane.
Yeah, because they know they'll give away that much, so they have to score that much.
Oh my God, this is a Talia McGrath batting masterclass. Do you have in a team? I mean, because you're smiling and
course.
clapping. Okay,
Of
you
course, of
captain.
course, of course. Yeah, vice captain. Captain was Carp,
Oh
which is
my
fine.
God, this is absolute brilliance from Knicks again. And how often is it that you see someone like Talia McGrath bat and, of course,
I mean,
fly her tape in a Patanjali jersey?
Harman's chance is a bit too difficult.
It's
She bats
bit
at number
difficult,
4.
but the way she's batting right now, it's
I know, but even
100
if
is.
What about Haley Matthews here?
Haley
even-
Matthews? Good
yeah,
shot.
Haley
The
Matthews.
onside is her best friend in the tournament so far. Oh,
that's
Edson!
four.
Fortune favors the dream. What about Talia
Oh,
McGrath?
Roy. Nice.
Oh, Arundhati.
Two,
Is she
two.
Uncle?
Yeah.
Arundhati.
No,
Not
not
Arundhati.
Uncle Roy.
Uncle Roy's sister in terms of the IPL scene. But yeah, who's that entry was looking like? So right now, Talia McGrath, is it possible that she can get 3 figures? No, right?
75.
Wishful
She can.
thinking. Wishful
I mean, if she
thinking.
hits last like
2 more
Uh,
balls and then
one
an over.
boundary and one single, yeah, possible.
She thread the field
Oh,
again.
single. She gets a single.
76. 76.
Come on, Simran.
Or 43.
Go
What is
for a
the
boundary.
what is the highest score so far WPL? Shefali, 84?
Yeah, 84.
Yeah,
84. So she has a chance to beat that, Talia McGrath.
definitely. Yes.
And she is, of course, the world's #1 batter for a reason. So no prize for guessing that she'll always be there in Lawrence Cat's run scoring
I
list.
mean, oh, shot.
Brilliant shot. Brilliant shot.
Oh, brilliant shot. And the best part about that boundary
Yeah.
is the fact that Talia McGrath remains in strike for
Yeah.
the final over. So expensive over, 155 for 5. Sorry.
When I was standing over there, like we were talking about this on paper thing.
Hmm.
Like even we remember, if we remember, even in the inaugural edition, like DC had a hell of a team.
Look at these.
Shahid Afridi, Herschel
One
Gibbs, Andrew Simons,
Who you talking about? Deccan Chargers.
Deccan Chargers.
Yeah.
Like that was one thing. Like, oh, okay, this is going to do something. Like apart from VVS Lakshman,
Who's their
every-
pace bowling overseas? Oh, Chaminda Mas.
Chaminda Mas.
Chaminda Mas.
like they had what a team they had. Ended up in the bottom of the table.
No, look at Delhi Daredevils, right? They had Russell, Warner, Sehwag.
Oh, yeah. The first
No,
one.
the early years.
Baby Andre.
Wow.
was the-
They had AB as well.
Arundhati Reddy's bowling,
Like very
we could see
strong.
the first turn.
Take it to the semi-final
Wait,
every
wait,
year.
what did Dix have to say? Sorry.
So Arundhati Reddy is going to bowl her first over of the WPL.
Oh my God! You spotted something that we haven't. Shivam Sharma, UP manager, seems to underestimate Eccleston's batting too much. He shouldn't be coming off a swimmer weather. I swear to
Yep.
God.
I
I
agree.
mean, they should have just taken notes from that Grace
No, I
Harris
think
chase.
Vaidya is a good batter.
But
I'm not
Sophie
sure.
Eccleston last game 12 ball 22, bro. What more do you want?
True. I mean, but
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I think Simran Sheikh was another name throughout by Vaishali because she's a domestic cricket expert and she was telling us all the names. So imagine Arundhati Roy concedes 22. Her first ball to Talia McGrath,
Oh,
one. It's a decent one. What is the
Brilliant
pace? What is the pace on that?
I don't think it's okay.
It surely will.
yeah.
Is it quicker than a shy the free stock ball?
No.
Well,
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh,
Shivam Sharma, if you're new, subscribe to the channel, please. And of course, all you other guys watching, we're going to be doing the Watchalong tomorrow.
So
We
Avnish,
Done.
tomorrow, maybe RCB can register their first points.
Yeah, hopefully Nix won't be there. I think Nix, are you there for the one?
No, he's not there tomorrow.
it's
One second. It's in the air.
Oh, yeah.
And no woman's land. They'll run for 2. Jemmy, it was a tough chance to be fair. It was a very.
Oh,
There
very
are
tough
only
chance.
one.
Only one.
Who's in that Delhi dugout?
Yeah.
Do you guys
I'm traveling
know any
for next
guys?
3 days, so hopefully before I'm back, RCB can get a few points.
Tom Lewis is
Is the head coach, I think.
Prashant Agarwal saying more than skill, I think game sense is the problem with Deepti Sharma.
Brilliant effort.
Bro, I don't know why they are all kind of being mean to Deepti right now.
Shot.
Swung away. They only just ran one for that drop chance.
Yeah.
Damn it. Sachin Upadhyay, the
End
amount
of
of
the
talent
circle, right? Yeah.
T20 setup shows that they will rule the T20 game for years. Indian talent looks good, but apart from a few, I don't see impactful players in domestic setup so far. So,
Yeah, true. 100%.
100%
I mean,
agree.
we
there
haven't
is,
seen.
there's this player called Tess Flintoff in Australia who's not yet. I mean, WBL, she's already like well equipped, and she's not even playing anywhere close to the
And
first.
what
line.
kind of cricket is she? Is she like a Talia McGrath?
Yeah. She's exactly like Italian.
That bowl.
Yeah. That's how they're producing cricketers. They're producing cricketers like for fun.
I mean, see that is what you expect from WPL, right? Like you want those domestic players to come out with that trailblazers and women's challenges. You had only three teams in which like most of them would be international players.
Yeah.
And
You can't even know that.
no, I mean it is
6.
Sure.
Oh.
She's hit that into tomorrow. She's hit that in the next week.
Okay, 4
really.
balls.
And that is officially the highest ever WPL score till today, guys. Talia McGrath 85. I mean,
in that tournament, you look at the captains, right? You look at the players. Julian Goswami is playing, Mithali Raj is playing. So it didn't really bring out a lot of talent per se. So maybe this is finally.
This is finally something like, see, because WBL has been running for so many years, you can find those kind of talents. like hopefully WPL brings that, but we thought IPL would do, but didn't do. So
Yeah, and didn't do for 15 years. So let's see how that story goes on. Last two balls of the game, guys. Unfortunately, no 100 for Talia Magra, but she'll get four.
Oh,
49. It suddenly makes me think. I know in terms of
No,
impactful knocks, Grace
no,
Harris is
6.
better. Is that a no ball? No,
No,
it's a no ball.
I am just
Wishful,
telling.
wishful.
Some of these runs might hurt Delhi. Some of these runs.
So,
Talia Magra will play.
so best innings of the WPL so far. So Harmanpreet, Grace Harris,
I think Shafali's innings
Shefali's
was
84,
top.
Meg Lanning tonight.
She was what 10 of 10 in that innings against RCB, and then she picked
I
up
would say
pace.
Grace Harris.
What about Haley Matthews against RCB,
I mean,
guys?
impact-wise, at least Grace Harris.
Next, Gurkirat.
Yeah,
I
Grace
think
Harris number
yeah.
1, Harmanpreet number 2.
Okay. Oh, is that it?
No.
Okay, it didn't. It didn't. Right.
Yeah.
So that.
And
I mean,
Please,
that's
why
it.
I
These,
said
these,
Shafali
these few extra runs,
coming into that, and so much pressure saying that she'll be found out,
True.
and then she came out in that match. Like first 10 balls, she didn't score a lot of runs, but after that, the way she batted against spin was
It was
proper.
quite sensational, and 100 already accumulated in 2 games. She'll take that any day of the week. Right, so Delhi Capitals winning and winning convincingly in this format. You'd suggest so because 42 runs, not a small margin in T20 cricket. They will take the points. They move on to 4 points with Mumbai, and that makes for all the more viewing for that Thursday night clash between MI and DC. We appreciate all you guys in the comments below.
And
Abhi,
I'll
are you going to
just
follow
tell-
Bayern PSG tonight? Not really my cup of tea.
I am guessing.
Are you?
Mum-
No.
I don't give. Okay, I'm guessing in Mumbai, DC, if Mumbai are going to win the toss and they are going to go bowl first.
They're going to go bold first. The stats man's made a prediction.
No, sorry. Then I mean, if I guess they'll make DC to chase probably.
Okay,
So which would be because they haven't done it till now.
Hmm.
So probably that is one strategical.
And
Point.
Delhi wouldn't want Mumbai chasing.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah. Okay,
After last
interesting.
year.
one strategical.
You
point,
guys
maybe.
can check out the previews as well of that on cricket.com, the website and the app. It's absolutely brilliant. Knicks, UP losing, but look, at the end of the day, still the silver lining being Talia Magra.
Yeah, and I think the strategy was fine. I don't have a problem with that. They had a very specific plan. Wanted to catch Delhi up top, and they almost did. Luck didn't favor them, but there were enough signs that they need to feel well, bowl better. And again, Talia's innings will probably make them feel better about dropping Grace Harris. That she just needed some contribution from the other end. Again, the end runs a matter, but that it is how the teams are balanced. So hopefully they can pick out the best bones out of this one and then have a very good game to follow.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many ebbs and flows in terms of this game. And like Ani said even earlier, 58 that they conceded in the last 4, thanks to pretty much Jemima and Jess Jonathan. That really tilted the favor. And that's why you see a 42-run win. Cricket, final word with you. And you can take Manoj Anderson's question here. Guys, prediction for tomorrow's match. Gujarat Giants against the RCB. Do you think the women in red can get over the women in orange? I mean, not of course.
Because you're my good friend. Because you're my good friend, I hope RCB win because you've had quite the rough last 3-4 days. It would be a good holy gift for someone like you. I have no, I really have no attachment to both the teams, but yeah, I do hope for your sake because I worry that you might stop. You might stop showing up for these watch-alongs if RCB lose another
That
game.
was my biggest fear because look, it's
And
good that you're
see-
actually kind of
See,
happy
also
because you're
another
sitting
thing,
in top of
another
the
thing.
pile with 2 points. I mean, 2 wins. out
See,
of
another
2.
thing. Another thing is we can bring in the calculator jokes if RCB have some points on the table. Without any points on the tables, the
I mean, the
calculator
best
jokes
joke
will
so
also not be any
far
fun.
came from Akash, to be fair, because even though he loves like literally giving the banter to me every day, he says CSK has the same points as RCB, guys, which is true, and they're not even part of the WPL. On that funny, non-funny joke, let's of course end the watch along. Thanks so much for watching this North Indian derby, the gun derby, the bulletproof derby, whatever you want to
Wow.
call it, because of all the little
The
things.
gun derby, okay.
Thanks so
This
much
is-
for watching. It's a goodbye from us. Nikhil can't believe it. Good to see you, man. You can't even have your say. We're just ending proceedings right now. Love Sean up for this right now. Brilliant stuff. Check us out pretty much on cricket.com. Subscribe and hit the bell icon because we did, of course, put out a new video earlier today. What is it? Check it out right now. I'm Avni Shagde. I need a glass of water. Anirudh, Akash, thank you so much. We'll see you guys soon. RCB winning tomorrow. Early predictions. Mike.